It's the Riot Podcast. This is the Thursday, August 3rd edition. In today's show, we talk about moving wedding dates. We talk about what the Ocean Gate CEO or founder is doing next, and a whole lot more. But first, a big announcement from us here at RadioU, and that is the RadioU Fantasy Football League is back.
Boom!
It's up there. If you go on the RadioU socials at RadioU official on Instagram, you should see an announcement of the RadioU Facebook page. It's everywhere. It's your chance if you sign up quickly. It might even be filled by the time you get there. I don't know. It filled up quickly last time around.
Oh, it's up now? People can sign up?
Yeah.
Sign-ups are open?
Yeah, sign-ups are open.
Oh, I didn't know sign-ups were open.
Yeah, they might even be... They're open. They might have been closed because by the time you're listening to this, it may have filled up very, very quickly. It did last year. It's your chance to play against us as RadioU DJ. So obviously, Isaiah and I, we're in the league. We also have Nene playing. He's a real wild card, big into football. Sydney from the afternoons. Big Country, Tyler from the afternoons. JR from evenings here on RadioU. We got everybody involved.
Everybody's in.
And it's your chance to play against us.
So the big question is what's the prize?
Oh, it's bragging rights.
We didn't schedule out a prize.
Yeah, well, think about how upset people get even when it's a completely free league with nothing at stake except for bragging rights, and people get upset about that. Imagine how upset people would get if there was money involved.
Can you imagine the treachery that would happen?
It would tear RadioU apart, probably. I don't think we could withstand that.
People would come and try to burn down this building if you or I won.
That's right.
For a fact. Because they'd be like, you guys just cheated. That's what they would say.
Yeah, you cooked the books. You tilted the scales.
You edited something. So no prizes.
Shaved points.
We can't handle prizes here.
No, yeah. It's for fun, and it is fun. We have a real good time. Last year was a real good time. None of us actually did wind up winning. It was somebody named Tiffany. So
Tiffany, congratulations.
Who knows who it'll be this year? Could be you. I'm gonna say unlikely because it's probably gonna be me, but it could be anybody listening right now if they go sign up for their chance to win in the RadioU Fantasy Football League.
So since Tiffany won last year, does that mean she's banned this year? She cannot return? She's not allowed to play?
Yeah, she can play if she wants.
I don't know. If she won last year, I'd like to win this year.
Well, you got to take her down,
Let's cut
maybe.
the competition.
You might have to take her down.
Fair enough. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with a little bit of competition. I remember playing last year, and I actually got knocked out by Tiffany, so I have a little bit of a grudge.
There you go.
Grudge against her. We were in the Final Four. She beat me, then went on to beat Nene, I think. Yeah, it was a rough time for me.
You know, it's funny for me. I mean, what was that? That ended about, I guess it would be 8 months ago or so. It ended. And I was so invested at the time. And now I know I didn't win. But other than that, do I remember? I know I did well, but I don't really remember that much about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember anything about it.
All the time I put in. And since I didn't win, I don't even remember what I did.
Yeah, but that's the fun part about it is you really care about it in the moment.
Yeah. It gives you something to look forward to.
What are we calling this? It's called like the is there a name? Is there a name for it? We have a name?
The RadioU Fantasy Football League.
Is that what it's called? I didn't know if there was like a name for it. Like a catchy name. Do we have something? The U League?
Let me see.
Not like the G League, but it's the U League.
Nene is in charge of that. It's RadioU's League for You.
You like that?
Oh, yeah.
RadioU's League for You. We'll workshop that. I'm sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, we might need to talk to Nene.
We'll work on that. I thought it was going to be something much better than when we have RadioU's League for You.
You know what we should call it? This is obvious. The UFL.
Way better name already. Yeah. The UFL. I like it already.
Work on that.
That makes way more sense.
All right. Well, sign up if you can. At least go look and see if there's still spaces open on the RadioU official Instagram and Facebook page. You should see links posted there for your chance to be a part of the RadioU Fantasy Football League. We're really excited for football season. Tonight's a Hall of Fame game. Jets and Browns. Super into it. And so, football season. It's finally really here.
Oh, we're pumped. Lots of good stuff in the show for y'all today, so enjoy.
Enjoy. We'll catch you next time.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow At RadioU Official. The Riot. RadioU.
Isaiah, you got to thank your lucky stars today. You ever just sit there and thank your lucky stars?
Oh, I do every day.
You especially got to do that today that you don't live in China. Actually, you know what? You're not under 18, so this wouldn't affect you, but any teenager today needs to sit and thank their lucky stars that they don't live in China.
And where?
In China.
China?
The country of China.
Got it.
Because in China, they have some new, fairly strict rules for minors, for teenagers, for those underage in regards to using the internet, using their phone. And we've heard this from China before, where they, they've cut down on how much children are allowed to play video games, when and where and what time and all that. And now they're getting a little more strict. So under the new rules set down by the Chinese government, they are saying that if you're between the ages of 16 and 18, you would be limited to 2 hours of phone usage each day.
2 hours?
2 hours is it.
So you either pick video games or phone?
And if I guess you could do both if you play games on your phone.
I guess so.
But actually, wouldn't it be better to split those out so you get more screen time?
Because you think about, too, and you can't do it between 10 and 6 a.m.
Uh-huh.
It's bedtime.
10 p.m. and 6 a.m., yeah. Well, you shouldn't be up at that time anyways. Go to bed.
Dang, that's crazy. So even, between 16 and 18.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, our kids would never do that.
Yeah, in the United States, that would never fly.
That would never fly. Can you imagine the people getting upset over that? They'd be so mad. The kids would be.
Yeah, and you know what? If that happened in the United States, it'd be similar because you'd have no, what do you do if you're 17 years old? You can't vote. You can't be like, I'll show you, Senator. What would you do?
You just gotta wait it out.
Yeah.
The long game, baby.
Uh-huh.
You just gotta wait it out for the long game.
Just you wait till the next time you come up for election and I'm finally voting eligible. I'll show you for not letting me play Fortnite.
Yeah, the backlash would be crazy. But at the same time, how do you enforce it?
I don't know.
It has to be the parents.
I think there's got to be you probably have to put in an age on your phone somehow. You probably have to verify something.
Ooh, that'd be smart.
It's China. They monitor everything, right?
That's smart. Yeah,
they're probably spying on you.
Because if they did the same thing here, there would just be parents that just wouldn't enforce it.
Yeah, right. We're not that invasive here in the United States. In China, they probably have some kind of thing that monitors your phone. They know how old you are, and then after you've been on it for 2 hours or at 10 p.m. every night, then the prime minister or whatever they call the leader of China probably pops onto the phone and says, "Go to bed," and then it just
pops up his face on the screen.
A recording, not him. Him every night at 10, he'd just do his live thing time for all children to go to bed. I don't know.
What he solely puts all the children to bed.
Yeah, 10 p.m. You just get
good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night from what they call him, Winnie the Pooh. I do know that. I don't know if he's a president or prime minister. I know they call him Winnie the Pooh, though.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
We all remember fairly recently the Ocean Gate tragedy, the Titanic submersible. They called it Titan that imploded. Very sad. Very sad. 4 people and the CEO of Ocean Gate, the company behind the submersible, perished. A horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah, it was big in the news. There's no way you haven't heard of it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, though, that Ocean Gate, the company, yet again, that was behind that was in charge of that submersible, they have a co-founder. His name is Guillermo Sonline. He, co-founder, of course, was not in the submersible that imploded earlier this year. He's got some more ideas.
Oh, he thinks this is the time to be tossing those kind of things out here?
Yeah. He was recently interviewed by Insider, and in the interview, he declared that he has an interest in sending people to the planet Venus.
What could go wrong?
Exactly. He would love to send 1,000 people to a floating space colony in the atmosphere of the the planet of Venus by the year 2050.
2050?
Yeah, in the next 27 years, he thinks we can put a floating space colony. He thinks he's capable.
You would think that he would wait. I mean, 2050, we've got 25 years. Maybe announce this in like 5 or 10 years when things have really blown over.
Yeah, when people have forgotten about the terrible tragedy that
just happened
like
a month ago.
That was honestly kind of surprising that he doesn't have to bear any responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, he's the co-founder. But at the same time, in his mind, this is going to sound messed up. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Love when things sound messed up.
Like, he's been waiting for this moment for him to be in charge, you know? So this is when he's finally in charge of it, and he gets to call the shots. You know, he's had a million ideas, and he's been probably saying Venus for years now. And so he's like, you know what? I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to do the Venus trip. And so he was so excited that he just couldn't let it escape his mouth. He should have waited another year.
Yeah.
2 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Maybe he's had people saying no to his dumb ideas all this time. And like, you know, generally keeping him from more disasters. Who knows what other
but now he's
terrible things going to happen if people weren't saying no to this guy. But now he's got free reign.
It's like if you left the riot and it was just me in charge here.
It'd be a disaster.
You know how many stupid things we would do every day that are my ideas? So many. And I would do them the first day that Hudson was gone. I would say, you know what? I've been holding out on all these ideas that I've had because Hudson wouldn't let me, and now I'm reigning them all free.
Yeah, and that's what this guy, the co-founder of OceanGate, wants to send people to Venus, probably based off of, you know, the quality and standards that were set forth for the Titan submersible. He's probably thinking of making a spacecraft out of like egg cartons and aluminum foil and sending people off and just seeing what happens.
1,000 seems like a lot.
Yeah. A lot
Considering
of people
their last trip was like 4.
Yeah, and they couldn't even do that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not liking this idea.
Who's going to trust this guy?
That's what I'm thinking. Who's going to
pony up? It's not going to be cheap.
And you know it's going to be expensive, too. That's the crazy part. People are going to pay thousands of millions probably of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, space travel sounds cool, but not with this. Not this guy.
Not with OceanGate, unfortunately.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
Did you know that how tall you are could affect how likely you are to have a happy relationship?
Well, this sounds kind of messed up already. I'm against this, whatever it is. If it's talking about you better be tall, I don't like this list. Well, I don't like this survey.
It depends. If you're a woman, you better not be tall, according to this study.
You better be short?
You got to be short. You got to be, according to this study, this was done in England, they found that women between 5 feet tall and 5'3" were more likely to be in a happy relationship, to say they were in a happy relationship, and they are more likely to have children by the age of 42 than women who are taller than that.
5'4" and above, you say?
Yeah, so you want to be under 5'4" as a woman. You're more likely to have a happy relationship in life.
I feel like 5'4" is the most like common woman height.
That sounds about right.
It's like right in that spot where if I like had to guess, if someone's short, like a girl's short, if I had to guess what her height was, I would just always guess 5'4".
It feels a little low.
I feel like that's pretty average.
I think they're a little taller than that.
You think they are?
I think so.
Maybe, I guess.
I
but I feel like that's right in the. I feel like 5'3" and short is very short. 5'3" to 5 foot. That's short for a gal.
It says here that at least in England, where this study was conducted, 5'4" is the average height for a woman.
Would you look at that?
There you have it. But now you might be wondering, is the same true for men? Are shorter men more likely to have a happy relationship?
Show me the money.
They're not.
Well, it's a good thing we're not short, huh?
Yeah, we are happily average. Taller men were much more likely to enjoy the same success, according to this same survey. So you want to, we've seen guys, right, getting leg lengthening surgery and stuff like that, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars probably to make themselves taller. I guess that makes sense based off of this. But apparently also I guess women should be getting leg shortening surgery so that they can be
Shorter.
under 5'4" and be in a happy relationship.
It seems like an odd thing, though.
Yeah, what do you think the correlation is?
So apparently the perfect couple would be the short gal with the tall guy.
I guess so. According to this, they'd be very, very happy.
I guess maybe because they're far apart. They can't hear each other very well. Over the course of time, that could cause less problems.
I don't know about
what do you think about that?
That doesn't sound very scientific to me at all, but but do I have a better explanation? No, I do not.
Yeah, I would say for me personally, I've always liked gals that are a little shorter.
Well, makes sense.
What about you?
Well, doesn't really register with me.
How tall is Angela? She's like the same height as you?
Yeah, about my same height.
Okay, so you like a little taller gals.
If you consider that tall, I guess that's taller than the average.
I mean, it's about 5'4".
It didn't come into consideration when I was going out with her.
Wasn't it just like she's the only one that said yes? Yeah, I better take her out.
Exactly right.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
The show with us, Nikki, has woken up early, just like old times, joining the show all the way from Florida. Nikki, I wanted to let you know, the reason I called you up is because I wanted to let you know about something that I've been doing. I don't know if you'll be proud of this, but you were known here at the RadioU studios when you were in the building for walking around all the time to try to get your steps in, right?
Yeah, I wanted to, we came up with like, okay, can we actually get to 10,000 steps? Because when you do the show, you're very sedentary. Like you just sit down for hours like anybody else who works at a desk or a computer. And so you used to notice that I would try to walk in place or get my steps in during the show instead of just sitting there the whole time.
You're constantly pacing like you were worried about something. And yeah. And so first of all, I want to know, do you still do that? Or do you actually get to go out on walks because you're working from home? What do you do?
No, and I think it's worse because I don't have the show hours, so I don't remember to do it, and it's still too hot out, so like I don't go out as much. So my steps are real low. It's really bad.
But like at the same time, though, I bet like less steps in that Florida heat probably worth more. You know,
that's right.
I do take my bike. I ride my bike every afternoon to go get the mail because the mail's at the front of where everybody lives at. Because the mail person can't walk to everybody's house because it gets so hot. So I do ride my bike up there. And let me tell you, I get worried. You're just like, wow, that's really hot. Like you're afraid you're going to pass out when you come back. So I think that counts for enough, even though my walking steps don't pick that up.
That's something.
Yeah, 1,000 steps here is like 20,000 steps in Florida.
Yeah.
Or the other way, whatever the conversion rate is.
I think you're reversed.
One of the two.
How many are you getting, Hudson?
My goal has always been 6,000 because we saw that one study that one time that said 6,000 is fine. And so I go for that, but I'll tell you that, and this is less for steps alone, but more just for burning the calories, that on days where I don't eat lunch, which is about 3 days a week, instead of taking a lunch break for half an hour, I go out and walk. I don't walk around in the building, but I go walk wherever I can walk. And
you walk during lunch now?
Yeah, I just eat something real small while we're doing the show or something, and then I'll go walk for my lunch break. And
so then you're like the people on the other building who take a smoke break, but you're just going and walking.
Yeah, so that's what I did. We're in the complex here. The first thing I did was just start walking in circles around the complex, and then I thought I look like a lunatic. And so I started walking, and like I'll set a timer, and we get half an hour. So I'll be like, I'll set a timer for 13 minutes, walk for 13 minutes. And then when the time's up, I'll turn back around, see how many steps I can get in.
See, I've been joking that the first time Hudson said he was going to go for a walk, Nikki, obviously you know where we're at, and you know that we're awful close to a playground. And I was like, you're going to look like such a creepo if you come up too close to the fence. I was like, you're going to be walking around these kids.
The kids aren't in school.
The kids are going to be at recess. You're going to have to stop this in the fall. You only have about a month left before you have to stop going on your walks. Because before long, they're going to be like, there's this weird guy. Every day at noon when we're outside, he's always by the fence. We're not sure what he's doing. He's walking in circles. It's going to call. You're going to come in.
Attention. Because, I mean, Isaiah's right. You're going to come off as a really weird person.
I'm going to be the one to call the cops.
Yeah, it might be better if you just walk around. Again, the complex where RadioU is, there's a bunch of buildings around it. And so you'll see a couple of usually ladies who will do a walking lunch and they're very motivated, but it's a small walking space. Yeah. You might have to go with that.
They just do. I usually only notice them do like a lap or two, but for me, I'm about to take a whole half hour.
Hudson puts on headband. He has a headband and sweatbands on his wrists,
leg warmers.
I've never seen someone walk so quickly yet so slowly at the same time.
My tan lines are so bizarre right now.
So are you getting on those days during your walking lunch, which sounds not like you, but this is the new you, and so we're being supportive. Do you hit 6,000 on those days, or are you still?
I'm more likely to, but I still don't get there every day, that's what's crazy, right? Is that I can walk for half an hour and just the only thing I'm doing is walking, and I like walk fast. I don't run, but I try to walk fast, and I still can't get always to even 6,000. Forget about 10,000. It's
that just shows. The rest of our day is just so sitting down that it's just almost impossible. So, well, at least you're trying. That's
I'm trying.
Good. I say, why don't you go with them then? Walk with them.
I like watching him from the window as I eat my morning breakfast.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Hudson. You got to go walk by yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm not getting my steps in, but you know what? I am losing weight slowly and surely.
Yeah, he is. He's looking thin.
I still look like a bowl of butterscotch pudding with my shirt off, but at least I'm not as heavy of a bowl of butterscotch pudding. So
that's right. Well, here, leave your shirt on. So there's a fix.
That rule hasn't changed, oddly enough, since Nikki left. We still can't do the show shirtless.
That's right. I promise you that's in the handbook somewhere.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. RadioU.
Isaiah, you want to help people win their fantasy football leagues this year?
That's what we do. We're just helpers.
We're helpers.
We'll give some knowledge.
Yeah. So here we call this, we're going to call this Heroes and Hoaxes. 3 fantasy players each that are going to be heroes this year, and 3 hoaxes each that we think are going to be guys you want to avoid. Go first.
You let me go to heroes first?
Do it.
All right, heroes. I'll start at the quarterback position. I'm going with Geno Smith, being drafted right now at quarterback number 15, which is wild. Last year finished as number 5. Not only can Geno throw the ball, he has a new weapon, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who are Ohio State fans here are going to absolutely love. And so he adds a new weapon to his offense, and he can run the ball too. I don't know why he's being drafted so low at number 15. Obviously, he popped off last year for the first time. But yet again, he's going to run you touchdowns in. He's going to throw them as well. A lot of value there. So if you want to wait to draft a quarterback, he could be one that you could pick up later on and try to stack some more running backs and wide receivers early. Going now to the wide receiver position. This guy should be ranked much higher. His average draft position, wide receiver number 43. A little later on, he's going to be like your wide receiver 2. That's Courtland Sutton. And the reason I'm going with Sutton is because there's no way that Denver Broncos offense could possibly do any worse than they did last year.
That's a good point.
I'm thinking Sean Payton comes back in, helps out Russell Wilson. They get things rolling there because before it was Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. And coming into last year, we didn't really know who was going to be wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 2. Right now, they're assuming that it's going to be Jerry Jeudy because his draft position is like wide receiver number 15. But Sutton and him, I think, are going to be a lot closer in receptions than I think people realize. So getting him at 43 is wildly low. And then my final one is running back for the Houston Texans, Dameon Pierce, right now being drafted at running back number 18, which is a bottom halfer for running backs, which he did not finish there last year. He was running back number 12 when he finished last season, and that was still missing 4 games. And he averages like 20 touches a game. That Texans offense is going to be improved with C.J. Stroud. I think they're going to score a lot more touchdowns this season. He still finished running back 12 last year and only had 4 touchdowns. I think this year they're going to score way more. Dameon Pierce at running back 18. He'll finish higher than that.
Gotta be better. All right, I'll do my heroes real quick. Let's do quarterback. This is a guy you want to draft. Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers.
I like that pick.
He's near high 20s is his ranking in the quarterback rankings. But think about it. You're drafting him there. You're getting you're taking a gamble but it's not going to cost you much, and he's unlikely to be turnover prone. He's guaranteed the starting job once he gets it, unless he gets injured, which is possible. But then again, you're taking him as your second quarterback, maybe even third quarterback, so it's not going to cost you much. And so why not? Why not take a run on Bryce Young there? For running back, I'm doing Brian Robinson Jr. from the Washington Commanders. They need offense from somewhere. They've got Sam Howell, quarterback. He's probably not going to be leading the charge for a whole heck of a lot of passing. And so they seem to like Robinson Jr. last year. And you might forget, but he didn't play a full season last year because he got shot.
I forgot he got shot.
Yeah.
Wild take there.
It wasn't even that he was injured. He got shot with a gun. So he should hopefully have a better year this year. Pump him up. And then you're going to like this one. Amari Cooper, a wide receiver.
Love that one.
Deshaun Watson has got to play better than he did last year. And if that's the case, he's got to throw it to somebody. Amari Cooper is definitely clearly the number one receiver. You'd think his numbers are going to go up. And I mean, obviously, Deshaun Watson throwing to like DeAndre Hopkins and stuff last year went really, or previously when he was in full form, went pretty well. So
you would think they'll do better.
You would definitely think.
Here we go again.
You want to do our hoaxes quick coming up next?
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Now we can give them some potential hoaxes.
Yeah. You can use these against us if you want. If you join up the league, these are people that for us we're going to be avoiding in our fantasy leagues this year, and we want to help you. We want to help you out. We want to help you win. Go ahead.
I will lead the way.
Yeah.
The first one I have here, quarterback, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, you don't like Lamar, huh?
This is controversial. Now, it's not that I don't like Lamar. I think that he's going to have a lot of really good games this year, but I think where you're drafting him, I just don't think it's valuable enough. He's going at average draft position for quarterbacks at number 5, which he's going to put up the numbers for the number 5 overall quarterback. But the thing is he's not going to play in enough games to where the place that you're going to draft him at is going to be worth it, because last year he finished as quarterback number 14, which obviously he was drafted last year as like quarterback number 4. He averages like 20 points a game, which is less than Joe Burrow, Justin Fields, who are being drafted around the same point as he is. The only way I think you're able to take Lamar is if you're willing to go a little bit higher and draft a backup quarterback a little bit earlier. You can't draft Lamar and then have Sam Howell as your backup or Baker Mayfield as your backup. If you're going to draft Lamar, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money on that backup quarterback. And so for that reason, I think that he's not quite worth
a hoax.
that 5 position.
Let me stop you right there and tell you that I considered him for my quarterback hoax. He was one of 3 guys I strongly considered, but I chose somebody else over him, and that's Justin Fields.
Oh, so you're endorsing a similar thing.
I think Justin Fields is going right around that same time, and the reason that I'm choosing Justin Fields over Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, I have similar concerns about all 3, is that they run a lot, which is what you want for a fantasy quarterback, but at some point or another, that means you're going to get injured. So that's a negative. But for Justin Fields, the problem with him is he's clearly not as good as either of those 2 guys, even though he's also going very high in the quarterback rankings. But also, there's a chance Justin Fields, like the Bears might just realize that he's not going to be their quarterback of the future. And if he gets injured, they might not be excited to bring him back. There's a chance he just winds up not starting games at all. And there's a chance that he just continues to not be a very good quarterback. You know what I mean? So for fantasy numbers, I'm saying Justin Fields, he's a little risky for being up so high.
He is high. And then running back wise, this one going at running back number 29, a little lower down the poll, but this one I would just completely stay away from. Do not draft him. This is one of the people that on this thing I am the most sure about, and that's David Montgomery. Before he was on the Chicago Bears, he now gets traded to the Detroit Lions, who, if you remember last year, had DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, who both put together pretty decent fantasy years, but they just spent a number 12 overall pick this year in the draft on a running back named Jamar Gibbs, who's going to take over David Montgomery in like week 2, week 3. David Montgomery, in the past couple fantasy seasons, has the lowest yards over expected. And so if he's supposed to get 6 yards, he's going to get you 4. He's not a good running back. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to take over like halfway through the season. He's not going to be worth anything. In my final one, Deontay Johnson, wide receiver number 33. for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's where he's being drafted.
Yeah.
I think George Pickens, who's the wide receiver 2, is going to overtake him. He's being drafted right now as wide receiver number 35. Deontay Johnson scored no touchdowns last year, finished as wide receiver number 39. If you're going to draft Deontay Johnson and you're going to invest in that Steelers wide receiver room, just go with George Pickens instead.
I'll zip through these real quick. I say avoid Jonathan Taylor. That's obvious. He's the running back for the Colts. He has been talking about wanting a trade, so you don't know if he's going to stay there or not. If you're drafting him now, you don't know if he's going to be traded. You don't know whether he's going to wind up being. And he spent some time injured last year, so you just never know. And
JT,
the new coach for the Colts was the coach for the Eagles last year, and they didn't exactly rely on their running backs and pump out a great fantasy running back core there. Finally, this is controversial. My wide receiver to avoid, a hoax, Jalen Waddle for the Dolphins.
Wow, that is controversial.
I mean, he's the clear second receiving option for an offense that could have Mike White, Skylar Thompson, or just a hobbled Tua. So that shouldn't excite anybody. And even if the offense is humming, Tyreek Hill's talking about getting 2,000 receiving yards. It doesn't leave a lot of targets. Doesn't leave a lot of space for Jalen Waddle to get more receptions. So I say avoid Jalen Waddle. There you go. Now you're going to win your fantasy league. Unless you play against Isaiah and I in the RadioU Fantasy League, then it's on. Then we'll see. We'll just see. We've only given you a portion of our repertoire here.
Of course. And we all, of course, endorse our own.
Yeah.
And so those picks, those are ours.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. RadioU.
Isaiah, you ever do this? You ever do the thing where you want to look thinner for somebody with your shirt off, and so you suck in?
Oh, have I taken a photo of me?
Yeah, you like suck in your stomach a little bit.
I'll do more of like the. I don't think about as much like sucking in the stomach as I do like puff in the chest.
Puff out the chest.
I guess it's the same action.
It kind of a little bit.
Yeah, if I'm puffing out the chest, it's the same action as tightening.
I think they're different.
It's still sucking in the stomach.
They're definitely
enough.
different. Sucking in your stomach. It's something that people have been known to do, but did you know that it actually could be very harmful to your health?
If you suck in your stomach?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
For what, a photo?
It depends how much you do it. If you're doing it every so often, like if we're just doing it now to test it, we're going to be fine. But if you routinely are making a habit of sucking in your stomach to try to, I don't know, impress somebody like for a long period of time, it can actually lead to something pretty dangerous. They call it hourglass syndrome, which you can also get. There's other health reasons that you could get this, but if you're getting it a very avoidable way, if you get hourglass syndrome from sucking your stomach in, here's what happens. It creates a visible crease in your abdomen, in your stomach area, like across horizontally.
Oh, kind of like when you have like rolls and you like sit down for a while, then you stand up and you get that line across your stomach.
Yeah, you're going to get that line on your stomach, and it will also pull your belly button like so that it's facing upwards.
Upwards, huh?
Yeah.
So not an outie, not an innie,
yeah,
but an uppie.
An uppie, yeah. So it's looking towards the sky. This is what doctors are warning about, because apparently when you suck in your stomach, if you do that repeatedly over a while, like a significant period of time, it's putting strain on muscles that it's basically the kind of idea of when your parents would say, if you make faces like that, your face is going to get stuck like that. Apparently it's true when it comes to your stomach.
Oh, funny faces, huh?
Yeah, apparently that's true when it comes to your abdomen. It puts strain, sucking it in, puts strain on the pelvic floor. And so not only can it also cause hourglass syndrome, but listen to this. You know what the pelvic floor does?
What's that do?
You know what those muscles do?
What do they do?
They control the bladder.
Ooh.
They control the uterus. They control the rectum.
Oh, so then you just lose. You lose control.
Yeah, you can start losing control. They say it's reversible if you already have hourglass syndrome. That's good to know. But I'm telling you right now, if you think that it's worth it, suck it in your stomach. Apparently, according to doctors, researchers, they say think twice before you go ahead and do that, because you might one day have rectum problems. Apparently.
Stop sucking in that belly.
Yeah,
just puff the chest, baby. Puff, puff the chest.
Just embrace it.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Isaiah, our theme today, our topic today, is
actors.
Yes. It's timely, I guess, because the actor strike is currently going on. So in a world where actors were allowed to act or allowed themselves to act, who would we take? And this is actors, not actresses. We're going to do them separate just because there's so many good ones. It's hard to narrow it down even to 3 for each of us to choose. So I think that's a fair way to do it. Another day we'll do actresses, but this time it's actors. I have the first pick. You ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
The first pick in the Choice Champions actors draft, I will choose Denzel Washington.
Oh, boy. Look at you, you little jokey jokester.
What do you mean?
Really?
Yeah, you didn't have Denzel. Was he coming up on your picks?
He might have been.
Yeah.
Now I have a whole new you messed up my whole strategy because I had 2 sets of 3. And so now I'm going to have to go the other way.
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
All the actors in the world, and we both wanted Denzel. Maybe you'll steal one of mine.
No, it's fine. I'm just gonna now I'm going to go in a completely different direction.
All right.
I'm going to go with Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Hey, he's versatile.
Very versatile. Do a little bit of everything.
He does.
I follow that up with Steve Carell.
Ooh, I like Steve Carell.
I'm taking more of a comedic route now.
Yeah, you sure are. I would never have taken him, but no, I mean, he's good.
He's one of the most well-liked actors.
Yeah, no, he's a good actor. I'm telling you, it was not in my big board.
That's fine.
I'll tell you who I'm taking next, though, and it might be another snipe from you. It is America's sexy, ageless uncle. I'm going with Paul Rudd.
That's going to cost you. I considered Rudd. I considered Mr. Paul, but I ended up going in a different direction.
I have one more pick.
I know you do. Take your time.
All right, so I have Denzel Washington. I have Paul Rudd, and I'm going to round it out with Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
What an interesting set of characters you have.
Yeah.
Say it for me one more time.
I've got Denzel Washington. Name a movie he's in that he's bad. He's always great.
He's always great.
Then Paul Rudd, obvious why I would choose him, and Brad Pitt.
It's a good little trio you got there.
Yeah. Who's your last pick?
So far I have Jim Carrey.
Yep.
Steve Carell. And then I'll just round it out with one of the best comedic actors ever.
Okay.
That's Will Ferrell.
So
I'm going all comedy.
Yeah, you sure are.
Well, you threw me off in the beginning when you took Denzel, so I had to go the other route.
What would your team have been if... Well, you know what? We'll get to that next.
We'll get to it next. We'll do honorable mentions next, won't we?
Whose team is better? I've got Denzel Washington, Paul Rudd, Brad Pitt. Isaiah has...
Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell, and Steve Carell.
8772 RadioU. Who did we miss? Let us know. It's Choice Champions.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
You can text in for today's Choice Champions. Isaiah and I chose
actors.
And it's up to you to decide which of us chose a better team of actors, and let us know any that we missed. Keep in mind, we could only pick 3 each. We can't do this all day. So obviously some really great actors were left out. But my team was Denzel Washington with the number 1 overall pick. And then I also added Paul Rudd and Brad Pitt. Isaiah went with
Jim Carrey, Steve Carell, and Will Ferrell.
And the texts are making it clear. Emily, Denzel, Paul, and Brad. Regina, morning. Got to go with Hudson for Denzel. Victor, Hudson. Denzel on Hudson's team killed it.
Brittany.
She
says switch Jim Carrey for Ryan Reynolds, and I'll go with Isaiah. And I will say, Ryan Reynolds, as I've been a big fan of his, I've spoken about him on the show before, but I was this close to picking Ryan Reynolds too.
You thought about
I had
him?
a different trio that included Ryan Reynolds that I ended up going against once you picked Denzel. Amber also voting for me as well.
Okay, so you got 2 votes.
Whoa, I just got another one. Isaiah wins, though a little sad no one picked Tom Hanks.
Yeah, we had a few people text in saying Tom Hanks, which was a real good choice. I strongly considered Tom Hanks. If you just want to pick the 3 current actors that have popped off the most bangers, it might be Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington, and I don't know who the third would be. Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe.
Yeah.
That just seemed to hardly ever miss. Tom Hanks maybe has lost a little bit of a step lately.
Whoa!
He just put out what's he done recently?
He just put out, didn't he just do a movie?
He did A Man Called Otto.
Yeah, A Man Called Otto.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really top tier Tom Hanks. Another one that a lot of people texted in about that we missed, and again, should go right up there, Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
D texted in Harrison Ford.
People
a couple
love
other
Harrison
people.
Ford.
Yeah. Who else did we wind up missing? Jessica also said Harrison Ford. Who else did you leave off?
So I had two trios. The other one included Denzel Washington. If I had picked first, that's who I would have picked. And I wrapped up that one with, I was going to go for like more of an action movie feel with Denzel, Tom Cruise.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
And wrapping it up with Keanu Reeves. That was going to be my action trio.
I think you would have won with that.
That would have been a good one.
That would have been a crowd pleaser.
You took Denzel, so then I couldn't try to fight with that. So I had to go the comedy route.
You couldn't have another choice, like a backup?
Well, I didn't have any backups. I had two lists. I had comedy and I had action. And you took the action one, so then I didn't want to fight action with action. I had to bring a little versatility to it and give it to my comedy fans here.
Yeah. Some other one, Philip texted and we missed Tim Curry and Samuel L. Jackson. That's a good one.
Another one that I thought would be good in the action.
Secret Invasion. I also considered, these were a little more off the beaten path, would have been like Idris Elba. You know, I love him. Jesse Plemons, an up-and-comer, Kirsten Dunst's husband. Yeah. We all love him here on the show. Who else? Liam Neeson is a longtime favorite of mine. Tom Hardy. There's so many good choices. It was hard to narrow it down to just three. But clearly, I narrowed it down to the winning three once again, as I always do in Choice Champions. And another fun round. Do the actors thing one more time.
Oh, one more time.
Actors.
Love it. Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
How's this for a predicament? I've got a guy here on Reddit who has a little marriage dilemma. You ever heard of the rock band Tool?
Vaguely familiar.
They've been around since the 90s. They've been around a long time. And so here's this guy on Reddit. He says he and his wife are going to get married. They've set their wedding date for this October. But then here's the problem. Tool is coming to town on the very same day that they were planning to get married. He says, so I told my wife, I don't want to get married on the 3rd because that's when Tool is in town. And then that led to the worst fight of our lives. She went to live with her parents, and it seems that all her relatives are on her side. What should I do?
I'm in danger.
Shocker there, buddy. You're in big trouble.
Yeah, that's trouble right there.
I would say that you shouldn't have been so surprised that she'd be against that.
Yeah.
Like, how silly are you?
Yeah, it's
obviously
a concert.
You can't move your wedding day. It's October 3rd is when Tool comes to town. What's today? August 1st?
It seems a little
3rd?
late. Seems a little late.
Aren't your invitations out, man? It seems like it's way late.
Yeah. So,
and a Tool concert? Really? I looked up the tickets. $430 a piece. Pretty pricey.
Ouch. Yeah, people love Tool.
Yeah, I guess that much. But Loveland, Colorado, you're in trouble. I think this was a very stupid idea.
Well, here's the question then. It is a stupid idea. It's too late. It's not. It's a concert. I don't think I'd struggle to think of a concert that might be worth it to move a wedding day. But here's the question. Maybe we can open up the Riot hotline for this as well.
877-2-RADIO-U.
Can you think of any event that could be announced after you had chosen your wedding date that would warrant moving the wedding date? Let's think about it. Don't answer. Don't be too hasty.
Yet.
Don't be too hasty. Think about it. 877-2-RADIO-U. If you can name something, any event that could be announced on your wedding date where you might be like, oh, maybe we'll move the wedding. We can do it another time.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
The question is there any event that can be announced that would be big enough to move a wedding where you would decide, we'll postpone the wedding, we'll push it off, we'll move it around somehow because we got to be a part of this thing. People are texting in. The whole reason is because some guy wanted to move his wedding date because of a Tool concert. That one, we put the veto on that.
Ex-nay that guy.
That's no good. Fortunately, I bet you he won't get married on the day that Tool is coming to town.
Oh, he'll be able to go to the concert for sure.
I think he probably will.
He's free now.
Good chance. So texts are coming in. Philip says, birth of a child. As part of the people that are getting married or like either a family member?
It's got to be the people getting married.
Well, if a family, like let's say your maid of honor, your sister is about to give birth. Yeah, because what if she had to miss the thing?
You got to miss it.
That's ridiculous.
I'm not moving my whole wedding because my brother's having a baby.
Jessica says the bride goes into labor.
Yes, that's appropriate.
Car accident.
How serious?
and a fair discovery. Well, that's obvious. Clearly.
Oh, a fair discovery? Yeah, that's usually a reason. It's not really an event. I guess it is an event.
Victor says no event at all. What was this? This was a good one.
The show must go on for Victor.
Yeah, Jeff says the apocalypse.
Okay.
The apocalypse is happening. And I like this one, though. Brittany says her grandpa wanted her brother to move his wedding because of an Ohio State game. Her brother refused, and so her grandpa wore headphones with a portable radio the whole wedding.
Well, that's commitment. I mean, he was there.
Uh-huh.
He didn't miss.
Yeah.
He could have not shown up.
Typical Ohio State fan, priorities all out of line.
What are you talking about? probably a big game.
You have to take into account, especially if you're in like Ohio State country, Buckeye country, you got to take into account when you're planning your wedding, you just got to know most people are going to be having one eye on one thing, one eye on the other.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Here's what I think. I think you can't say never. Now, it depends on when, like how far in advance you know this, but I think you can move the wedding date, and here's when. When it's something you and your significant other, your fiance, both agree on.
Yeah, you agree on
like,
it.
let's say, here's an example. A big music festival gets announced. And it's like, oh, this is like 7 of our top artists that we want to see. You know what? And we've got plenty of time.
A music festival?
Yeah.
You're crazy. That's a terrible example.
That's a good example.
No, it's not.
Because you guys could share that moment. That'd be something that you love. And then you can still have the wedding. If you have the wedding that day, then you can only have one. And I'm all for having more special moments in life. The more special moments, the better.
I think you could move the wedding, but it's got to be for a good reason. And the other thing is, like, who's going to be the one to bring it up? You know?
Yeah.
Like, because if I bring it up, like, let's move the wedding. Even if I think she might be on board for it, it's a huge risk. If I even propose,
it is risky.
That as an option, because I might be like, oh no, she'll totally understand. And then she's going to be like, you really want to move the wedding? You would even consider that for the Super Bowl? For the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah.
I would. That's what I would consider it for.
Exactly.
If the Browns were the Super Bowl, we're moving the wedding.
If she's not a big enough fan of the Browns to move the wedding for the Super Bowl, then the Browns being in the Super Bowl.
But at the same time,
then you shouldn't be marrying her in the first place.
She has to understand, as my wife, how much that would mean to me.
Exactly.
This day is about both of us.
And ideally be a big enough fan that she's right there with you.
I'd like to be 100% in on the wedding. I don't want to be 50% in.
Exactly.
If I'm over here trying to figure out if the Browns are up by a score, down by a score, these are things. If it's a regular season game, no worries.
Yeah.
But if it's a Super Bowl?
AFC Championship, maybe?
Ooh, even that's... But now we're pushing it.
Because the Browns never really get there.
Exactly.
You just heard the worst of the worst. We'd give you the best of the best, but we'd have to find that. As soon as we do, you'll be the first to know.